All right. Good evening, everybody. Going to wait just a moment or two to.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
I was watching myself on YouTube and caught the audio. But yeah, we're going to wait just a few minutes to let a few more people get on here, and then we'll get started. Hey, everybody. All right, we are over 100 now, so I would think we are ready to go here. Welcome, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. Hopefully, we're able to bring you some good information. Along with me, I've got Michael Gonzalez and Athena Delgado with us. So we're going to be going through some of the key points to kick over into the new season. Hopefully, everybody is excited about some of the new changes that we're going to be implementing this season. You'll notice that I've got American flag, a Canadian flag, and a European flag on here. What I've tried to do is, if there is information that is relevant to all three areas, I've got all three flags on there. If it's not relevant to a certain area, then I've removed that flag. We'll try to kind of talk through that a little bit. So let's get going. Michael, Athena, how are you both doing? Man, you're on mute.
Still catching up from the weekend, but doing good.
Yes.
Yeah, same, doing good.
Yes, Wi-Fi was fun this weekend. So, all right, just a quick disclaimer. Most of this information is finalized, but it is certainly subject to change before the start of the season. So the stuff that's set in stone will be in the players, directors, pro, elite guides when those are released in the next few weeks. So while we're giving out information tonight, I just want to kind of leave that little disclaimer that there might be some slight changes here and there. Okay. Now here's a quick list of the talking points that we're going to go through tonight. Okay, I won't read all those because we're going to go into each one of those individually. A lot of information, a lot of new updates. This is probably one of the most aggressive seasons, aggressive amount of changes we're taking in a season. So got a lot of information. You will notice that pro and elite information is not on here. That is intentional. Trey is going to be releasing some information to the pros later this week, and then he'll be following up with some additional information for that we can release to directors. So we will primarily be focusing on the amateur season coming up here this season, but just know that pro information will be coming here soon. Okay. All right. I know many of you have seen this graphic before. This is one that we, as a group, as an ACL group, we've really been focusing our attention on kind of remembering our focal points for why we're doing what we're doing. We are doing a considerable amount, not just in the U.S. here with the pro and the amateur divisions, but we're also doing quite a bit with investing in the sport in other areas to continue developing, including bag testing, our technology, broadcast, international development, high school, college, and then eventually additionally the WCO with getting ourselves eventually to the Olympics. So I like to point this out because I know it's kind of hard from time to time to remember the big goal in what we're doing, how ACL and the revenue that is generated through player memberships and director fees and per player fees and stuff like that. It's kind of at times it's difficult to understand maybe where that revenue is going. And I like to draw this back from time to time, just as a reminder that the ACL, more than any other group in the cornhole industry, the impact that they're making on the development of the sport, and nothing's more clear than if you look back to where the sport was, pre 2015-16, when a majority of the players that are playing now didn't really even know about the sport. So this is going to be another emphasis that we continue to address throughout the season with our area managers, our new area managers, and our national directors, and then trickling that down into the state level and lower. So I like to bring that up. I know some of you might be tired of seeing it, but it's a good refresher from time to time. All right. Well, we are the big shift that I've talked about over the last 6 to 8 months is the community development model, or the community model. Now, kind of shifting and playing around with names. And it seems to be, we're kind of settling on a club development model, okay, where we're really trying to empower all of our directors to have an impact at their level of running and organizing cornhole events. As we go into the new season, a primary focus is going to be on that local growth, that grassroots growth, to bring more players, new players, into the sport of cornhole so that we can continue to grow, engaging our directors and players so that they continue to want to play cornhole. They like the competitive side of things, the community side of things, the data management, the data that we've been collecting and that players seem to love these days is just taking on new forms and continuing to evolve. That's what's really exciting part of the evolution of the sport, and being able to provide directors with more of this data so that they can make decisions to get people to the correct skill level and whatnot. And then the big part that is a high priority when we get into the season for the development team are the resources to support our directors so that they can hit the ground running and run effective, high quality events that players want to return to time and time again. Okay, so you're going to hear that we have been talking about it as the community model. That's more shifting to this club model, and we're going to get into what that looks like here throughout this presentation. Okay, and just another reminder with this club development, the player focus. I presented this earlier earlier this last season. When we really take a look at the numbers, and this is no surprise to any of you that are on this, that are viewing this session, that the recreational players, the amateur players, the competitive intermediate novice players, those players make up just a large percentage of the player population, whereas our open level players, our top players, our pro, elite, and our high level advanced players, those players make up a much smaller. So how do we capture those recreational amateur players? How do we get them in to come to our events, and then how do we keep them there? That is going to be a main just a very large emphasis this year on being able to help provide resources so that you can do that at your director level. Okay. Want to go a little bit into the development team now. We've got Michael and Athena on this call. You both, you should all know them by now. We've also got Matt, who's our national director in Canada, and Tone, our national director in Europe, and also our executive director of the WCO. These are all four of these directors are have a lot of influence in the decisions that are going on right now in the sport and helping to shape some of the policies and where we're going in the future to continue to innovate and evolve this game. Okay, the new position. The new position that was just started up back in July was our area managers. This with conferences going away, there was a big need for leaders in certain areas of the country to oversee and manage 8 to 10 to 11 different states. We've got 6 area managers. The 6 of them plus Athena, Michael, and myself were able to have a little mini summit in Rock Hill during Worlds, where we were able to really kind of talk for it was limited, but we got a chance to talk about kind of the vision and scope for the ACL coming up this season, the voice we want to use with our directors, our state directors, and then state directors with directors within their state. Super excited to have these 6 directors on board for the start of the season. We're starting a bi-monthly or bi-weekly meeting schedule to where we're really going to talk about topics that might be pressing, so that you've got a resource in your area that you can lean on, to can then bring concerns, ideas, things like that up to the national level, so that we can make sure that we're continuing to innovate, we're continuing to evolve, we're continuing to grow and develop. So I've listed here, and this has been in the director page as well, the different area managers, the area that they're overseeing, and then the states within that area. Okay. Now I know this is an important one that a lot of you have been asking about, so that you can start planning your events. Tomorrow, you'll notice that I don't have locations listed on here. Tomorrow, I believe it is, if everything works out, our social media team is going to release not just these dates, but also the locations of the first 6 opens. They're going to be released to pros, directors, and licensees tomorrow. And then after that, it'll go out to the public, which I'm sure it will get out to the public tomorrow anyways, once it's shared to these groups. Okay, so those dates are already locked. We do have the tentative dates for opens 7 through 18, which are all the opens after January 5th in 2025. Those, I believe, we're going to have released in early September sometime in September. The events that are going to be part of the U.S. schedule are we've got women's, seniors, juniors, singles and doubles, the U.S. forces, a lot of the same events that we've typically had. We're going to have minor league teams again. Athena started that process with reaching out to previous managers, and then there'll be a process for new managers that she'll get into shortly. But we are extending that season from 8 events to 10 events. Okay, so that's something to look forward to for Open 3 through 12. We're going to be introducing a recreational doubles division. Okay, these are for the newer players that have not had a chance to experience the Open. So this is a nice addition. Something we're bringing back is Crew Cup, which I know a lot of people will be happy about. Crew Cup will be a part of some of the Opens. And then Michael just told me that we've got the mini boards from World still, so that we're going to be bringing those to Opens and having a mini boards blind draw at those as well. Okay, so two new big things, big changes that are going to be happening this year with our open format. One is that the pro elites players, they're going to have a completely separate division from the amateur players. We are going to be going away from open standings and focusing more on state standings as our top standings. So the amateur divisions at opens will count for regional points. So you'll have extra opportunities if an open comes to your area to get regional points. The pros and elite are going to be playing in a full season of 18 different events. There's going to be pro events at each of the 18 opens, 12 opens, and then 6 are more national based that we're calling signature events. But pros and elites will be competing separately this year, going into open events than they have in the past. And again, Trey will communicate all of this a bit more in the next week or so. Okay, that is going to be a big change, but the idea behind that is to have an amateur division completely separate from the pros, so that amateur players have more opportunities for success at their events. Another big change is we're going to be introducing the shootout format at some of the opens. And I believe, Michael or Athena, correct me, it's 6 of the opens are going to have this shootout format. Okay. So 12 of the opens will be classic, play to 21. 6 of the opens will be shootout format, where just like the pros are playing shootout format at some of the events, the amateur divisions will be playing shootout as well. I know that's going to be a big, a new thing for a lot of people to take and kind of grasp. Change is hard. We definitely understand change is hard, but the shootout format is certainly part of the evolution of the sport as well. And me personally, I love the shootout format. I do not like watching 30-round matches. I like the strategy that comes into shootout format, but that is a change for this upcoming season. And Athena, 14 rounds for shootout. 14. Okay.
Yeah, 14 rounds.
14 round matches for the shootout. All right. So best suggestion that we probably have for that is start introducing that at your local events from time to time. Doesn't have to be every night, but from time to time, start introducing a shootout format. I believe, Athena, you do that at some of your events, correct? Yeah.
Yep, we do warm-up rounds at regionals for singles and doubles, all round limited.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. All right. I am going to turn it over to Michael because I just talked for 20 minutes straight. So Michael's going to go through and explain our new metric that you've probably seen in the player app, our CPI.
Okay, so I had a brief chance at Worlds to kind of talk with everybody about this. I did not record that, so I plan to do a little bit more in-depth training with you guys here soon. But CPI, what is it? We're calling it the Cornhole Performance Index, and it's a metric we're going to start using and developing to measure players' skill level across the whole league. It's a scale that ranges from 1 being the lowest, 12 being the highest, and it's going to use a combination of PPR, DPR, strength of schedule, and weighted win-losses. Important thing to note on the weighted win-losses, I think will really help the accuracy of this number, is that it changes based on a local event, regional event, or state event, or even an open. So all these different types of events are weighted for strength of schedule. As you may have seen already, CPI is available to all players right now in the player app. It's also available to directors in the admin portal, both on the registration side and on the event side of things. There is some limitations on who can see it. So going into next season, players who have a gold, platinum, or diamond membership will have access to it. It's going to require 50 games since the start of season in 2021. And it's going to require at least 150 rounds on the bag tracker since October 2022. As long as a player meets those, they will have access to it. If a player has not met those metrics, the directors will still have access to their CPI. But more to come. We just want to share that with you because I know there's a lot of questions coming out about it.
Yeah, that's a good point that Michael brought up that I didn't include in this is the idea too is to have almost like in events a research page for directors. So a new tab in there that shows the data for all the players within that event, so that they can see the different statistics and decide help them determine if people are in the right division or whatnot. Okay. All right. So just looking at a couple comments, yeah, it looks like some people are using a shootout already, which is great. It's just another part of the game, and it's certainly one that I think players will like over time. So, okay.
Okay, next one for me. We'll touch on the rule changes for next season. I put a little note at the top there. A few changes can make a big impact, and that kind of ties into the rules this year. We have just a very few rule changes this season, less than in seasons past. However, a big impact being that first bullet point there, the follow-through step has been eliminated going into next season, and a hard foul line's been established when pitching a bag. So that'll be big news to everybody, pros down to the Joes, local players on your Tuesday nights. Everyone's going to be affected by this rule change. It's a big change for us. I am most excited about the rule change, looking at follow through step from the international perspective. I know there's some gray areas and some confusion around the step over rule this last season. I think having one hard line is going to be beneficial for us as we grow the game internationally. So that's the big one there. A few other ones to note. We've modified the penalty for players throwing a bag before the bags at the other end have come to rest. That was not clarified in last year's rules, so we've clarified that. We added some penalties on the final bag of the round. Last season, it said that you could not start walking until the bags made it to the other end. However, there was no penalty, so we added a penalty for that. Another small one, but seems to come up often, is bag spins before game. We have actually added that to the rule book. In the past, it said a coin flip was required, and we know that not everybody's carrying around coins, so we made sure to add the bag spin as an alternative method to the coin toss. We specified penalties for player conduct violations. There was a lot of gray area around this in the rule book on how to treat players who are conducting themselves poorly or have issues at your events. So we've laid out some different ways to penalize those players. And then lastly, we added a guideline for the official scoring of forfeiting games, whether that be 21-0 in some instances, and other instances that would be a 21-10 forfeited score. So, like I said, just a few rule changes. A real big one coming down the pipeline that everyone's going to be interested to know a lot about, and that's the hard line for the foot foul.
Thanks. Yeah, and for the player conduct violations, one thing that the area managers and national directors will be working on, and the next, hopefully, we'll have this released by the start of the season, if not early in the season, is similar to what the pros have with a discipline policy. We'll have something for the amateur divisions, so that you as directors can go through and say, okay, this director did this, or this player did this. We've got suggested guidelines for how those players could be disciplined. So, well, thanks, Michael.
All right, minor league teams. So So not too much has changed in terms of formatting and things like that from this past season. Just tied up a couple of items with giving just a few more dates, I guess some hard dates for us to kind of follow through with to make sure that everything is where it needs to be. All of the current managers, if you are in the manager Facebook group, received a Google form. It's listed inside of that group where you just fill it out to let us know, do you plan on continuing to manage your team? If not, then that would go out for, any areas or managers who might be interested in that role. And an application for that will go out on September 1st, and that's going to be in our directors group. So in that, it's also going to show you, what areas are available, what areas aren't available. I'll also have a little table of, what areas are already full, who's returning. So we'll all kind of have an idea of who's actively remaining a manager. And then areas that, we need a few more managers in, or someone who, might be able to step in and manage a team that was already managed this past season. The approval, so every manager will receive their approval on September 13th if you submitted an application. The jersey ordering process was a little crazy getting it set up this season. So this coming season, trying to give a little bit more wiggle room and time. So October 15th is when we'll start that process, kind of the deadline. We want to start as early as October 1st for those of you who already have your teams together. Maybe you already have some details there, so we can start that as early as possible, but hoping to get everybody on board with getting sponsor logos and everything approved around October 15th. Final day to submit your team. So if there's any areas that still need teams or minor league teams, that's going to be October 31st. So if you don't have your team submitted by then, that's kind of going to be the hard deadline for that. Our first minor league event is Open number 3. So that's the November 1st to the November 3rd group that was showed in the earlier slide. So that's going to be really exciting. We're going to start a little bit earlier this time to give you guys a few extra opens. I know some managers and players really wanted to continue playing, so that was really good that we were able to get that in there. Our add drop deadlines, when you can add players or drop them from your roster, will be January 29th. And then World Championships date is to be announced once we get that all squared away. Pretty similar, again, each of the 16 pro teams has 4 minor league teams. They are managed by ACL directors, so that is, something that you would want to be. So for the application, once we go through that, local directors will also be eligible. So as long as either a state or regional, if they either have one covered or if they're opting out of managing a minor league team, it'll filter down to local directors as well. Same eligibility. Only diamond and platinum members from affiliate states can compete on a team. 4-game round robin, single elimination knockout at opens. And our prize pool will be a minimum of $50,000 for the upcoming season. And we'll have more details on what that'll look like. We even have a really cool spreadsheet that's going to help all of the managers kind of keep all of their information together, their rosters, events, and we'll kind of go through that later on. Once we get all the managers squared away, we'll probably have a little meeting to kind of go over what that looks like and expectations and everything like that. So lots of stuff, lots of dates, but not too much has changed on the minor league side.
Well, thanks. We'll have the minor league teams page too. Is going through some updates as well. So once that's officially launched, we'll be able to share that page. So cool. Thanks, Athena. All right, let's get into some director and player memberships. We're going to be introducing a new level, or I guess it's not really new. It's just going to be shifting focus a bit this year. Is our club level director membership. Now we've got high school, college. We've got a basic, which is also a new director membership level. Both of those are free memberships where you get access to the software There's a little bit of a limited use with both of those, where you don't have teams or the ability to run a tour or do registration, but you do have the ability to run all the other formats. This is primarily we want to offer this for people who are maybe not quite sure if they want to offer points events, or maybe they're new to the ACO. They want to test out the software, see how it works before deciding to commit. So this is hopefully a new one where those directors who haven't quite decided yet, they've got the ability to check that out. From there, if those directors decide they do want to upgrade, we've got this new membership, which is a club membership. And this is really kind of replacing our local director membership, where you've got access to all the formats. Events that you run are included in standings, and then some other items there that we've got. Regional, state, and area. Regional and state directors are the same, and provincial directors are the same as last year. We've got the area manager and country directors, which are replacing our conference directors. Okay. Now, you might notice a couple new items in the benefits for those two things, and I'm going to show you a graphic later on in the presentation to kind of end up is a director page. We want to give everybody with this club model focus, any paid director, we want to give them the ability to have a director page that shows rankings and shows upcoming events, past results, things like that for your specific group or your club. If you're a regional director, you can be a club. You'll have your own club. If you're a state director, or if you're a club director, any paid director will have this club director, opportunity, where you can have club rankings on this director page, where now the standings are filtered out just by your events. Okay, so if you run, a weekly Wednesday league, and you just want to have standings for that league for that Wednesday, you can do that. We're also going to be able to give the directors the ability to sort those by different statistical metrics or wins and losses and things like that. And I'll show you the mock-up design that Davis is working on, our designer's working on. I'll show you at the end, because that's a pretty exciting new feature. And then over time, we want to add more and more features to that as we see how directors are using it. But this is really a huge part of the club model, where we've been able to identify that over half of the players, or right around half of the players who play in events, are not playing any higher than a local event. So we want to give them and their directors the ability to do some customization with their local groups, so that the local club directors or regional directors who are running local events can start to create incentive plans, programs for their groups. Okay. This we see is just a big step forward in bringing that grassroots and bringing in more new players to be able to play the sport. And you'll see that we've also, with this club director membership, we've got a monthly option and a yearly option. Okay, much more affordable price point, where we can where directors can sign up on a monthly or yearly basis if they want a little bit of a discount. Another item we are hoping to do, if we can get this pushed through, is any of our paid directors, we want to be able to send a welcome kit to each one, so that you've got a little bit of stuff getting into the season that you've got available to you, in terms of a little bit of swag, some maybe a binder or something like that. with some items that you can then make your lives a little bit easier when you're running events. And then one thing that I'm not confident that it's going to be ready at the start of the season, but we want to give the ability for directors to send out custom push notifications to their players within the event or within their director management page. That's probably not something that's realistic by the start of the season, but we are going to be pushing to get that out there so that, if you're showing up to, if you're a director and you're running a regional and the venue closed the parking lot for some reason, quickly you can send everybody that's registered into that event a notification, say, hey, park here instead, or hey, $2 beers at the bar for the next 30 minutes, send that out and stuff like that. So these are all enhancements that we're hoping to push out there at the first part of the season. Okay. Okay. Player memberships, not too much has changed here. We do have the free basic membership, where it's similar to previous seasons. And I do have I can see an error in there right now with the match event and season stats column. That won't be included in the basic membership. Nor will the $10. Okay, I should have proofread this a little bit more. This slide will be a little different. The club member is more of a local player. So the reason for this club level membership, which is a new membership, is it's designed for those players who are not really interested in playing in regional events, so that they don't have the interest in that $10 discount. So I've got a couple errors on here moving too quickly that I didn't catch, so I'll update that. The $10 discount will just be at the gold level. The stats, club members and gold members will be able to see match, event, and season stats as well. Okay. Let's see. I don't think much has changed. Gold members will still have their wallet fees waived. Platinum and diamond, the deposit and withdraw. One thing we are going to adjust a little bit this year is one free transaction per week, which should be plenty for players and directors. The idea behind that is the amount of fees that both players and ACL are incurring is getting pretty hefty. So trying to save everybody a little bit of money on that end. And then we are going to be giving discounts at the ACL shop for platinum and diamond members. Okay, so just so that you can go to order stuff and you'll have a season-long, players will have a season-long discount that will be tied to their email. Okay, another benefit that we're adding to platinum and diamond members this year is $20 instead of $10 discount for the open level events. So open singles, open doubles, those will have the $20 discount as opposed to $10 discount. Okay. All right, let me just look through a couple questions here. Lawrence, I don't think the rules are updated on the website yet, but they will be for the start of the season. Kathy, basic will allow you to see information for events I have run. That's a good question. I do not know the answer to that at this point. You may take a screenshot of that. Okay. Oh, I saw. Thanks, Michael. I saw that you. Matt Matthews, way for club directors to get credit or monetize new member signups. There will be a way to. We're working with programming to get a way to credit club directors for the for club level and higher signups. So this is something that I'm really pushing to get involved in incorporated by the start of the season. We'll have a in a couple slides, I'll go into our incentive programs. Will players from BC be able to earn points at club regional? So Eric, the BC players, so club standings are going to be based on the directors. So if somebody from US plays in a BC event, or if somebody from BC plays in a US event, they'll show up in that director's club standings as long as, you know, the player has the appropriate membership. What is going to be different this year is that Canadian standings and U.S. standings are going to be independent of each other. So if an event is played in Canada, you'll show up in the Canadian standings. But you will not. That won't count towards the U.S. standings. Okay. Michael, can we access ACL merch to sell at events? I'm not quite sure what that means, but if you wanna send a message, we can get a little bit more clarity. Okay. Dan, no, non-members won't pay $20 more. Diamond and platinum members will pay $20 less. Yeah, Ginger, this is something, that I know is kind of something that's in the pipeline, is to have our transaction log a little bit or a lot easier to understand and read. So we are hopefully going to be switching our payment processing in the next several months so that this can hopefully get cleaned up. Okay. Thank you. Amber, with Canadian dollars, that is the goal. That's why we're changing our payment processing so that currencies are in local dollars, whether it's Canadian, euros, or U.S. dollars. So yes, that is something I'm not confident that it'll be ready to start the season, but our business and our finance team has been working over the last 3 or 4 months investigating different solutions for this, because that is a hot topic, and I know that's something that that especially in the Canadian side of the border, directors and players are interested. So yes. Okay. All right. Went through a lot of questions there. Let's move on to the next one. Oops, let me add that one. Yeah, thanks, Michael. All right. Okay, so state and provincial events. This is a bit new as well, with conferences going away. We are introducing a more of a state-minded focus with our larger events. Anything below an open. State directors and provincial directors have the ability to run two state-level events per year, per season now. One is the state championships, how they've been in the past, or the provincial championships, where anybody in that state or province are eligible to play in that state or provincial event. And then the second one is an interstate or interprovincial event, where the state or provincial director can run almost like, think of a super regional or a mini open type setup where it's for state provincial level points, but it is open to anybody. So in theory, players could go around and play as many of these interstate, interprovincial events as they want. But the top singles and top doubles for the season will count towards your state and provincial points. Okay. The idea is to have that first one, that interstate or interprovincial event, sometime in the first part of the year, first half, 2/3 of the year, and then the state championships towards the end of the season. We've got a couple. We've got provincial logos in Canada that we've had. And then this ACL-AZ logo is a new one for U.S. States, where we'll be able to supply these to state directors for them to include on branding. And then we'll be working on over time, seeing how these are used. We want to be able to give, hopefully, directors within that state the ability to license these logos and sell products with your specific state design on it. So this was just shared with me today. Really love the way it looks. It's got the red, white, and blue for signifying that it's a U.S. Event. And then we'll work on some brand guidelines for changing colors to fit more with the state theme and stuff like that. But just know that these are coming for state directors who want to start creating a state page and whatnot. Okay. All right. U.S. point structure. Pretty similar to the past. We are going to increase. We wanted to get to 3,000 points for next season. We're going to increase the number of club or local events that count towards the standings. Now, this is for U.S. If you look, that number 24 looks pretty large, but in fact, a lot of directors these days are running 2-stage events with a round robin or rounders into a bracket, which counts as 2 events. So you've got, you can really cut that in half and say, 12 events. We are going to increase the number of points that you can earn at a local event too, with the idea of getting up to 1,200 points for your local club points. Regional stays the same, and then your interstate events stay the same as well. Okay. For Canada, slightly different, where you'll have your club events, your regional events. Those are kind of the same. Your provincial, interstate singles and doubles, and then your open singles and doubles. You notice in the U.S. that our open points are going away. If you remember earlier in the talk, the opens are going to count for regional points. That'll be different in Canada. We're with Canada still growing quite a bit, and opens still a somewhat new level of events in Canada. The open singles and doubles will still count. They'll be on the same point table as provincial and interprovincial standings, but they'll count as well. Okay. Mike, this is a good question. No, they got to be in whatever their listed state is. That's the state they'll compete in the state championships. But remember, with the interstate events, they can go to any other interstate event and they take their top single and double as part of their standings. Okay. Europe, this is Europe's current point structure. This has not been determined for 2025 yet. The European season is more January 1st to mid-September. So the European schedule is still finishing up with their final event of the season in a couple weeks. After that, Tone, the national director in Europe, and I will work on that to come up with a new structure for the next season. Okay. Standings was pretty similar to this season, where we'll have U.S., Canada, and Europe standings. Club standings will be on the individual director pages, and then you'll have state, pro, women's, seniors, juniors. Canada will have provincial, open, singles, and doubles, and then Europe will have country, open, and then tentatively pro, singles, and doubles, depending on what we do with the pro field in Europe. Okay. All right, now a couple things that we're excited to introduce this year as well, along with the club model, is this player engagement points, and we have director engagement points. This is, if you kind of think about maybe an app that you play a game on, or a video game or something like that, we're going to start introducing engagement points or player engagement points, or PEP if you're really excited, happy person, you can say PEP points. Well, I guess PEP points is redundant, but the bottom line is we're going to incentivize players for competing in your events. There will be a breakdown, and I'll share this once in the director's guide. There's going to be a breakdown of earning points by your membership. If you get a yearly membership, competing in different levels of events. Monthly bonus. The monthly bonus, as you probably noticed from the points tables, was going away from actual your standings, and we're going to move it over into these player engagement points, where you compete in those 8 events in a month and you get additional PEP points. We've got a number of great incentives lined up, anywhere from very low levels, the early levels, with digital awards and personalized messages from pros, all the way to bag raffles, additional discount codes, academy courses, event t-shirts. If you get to a certain level, being entered into a $5,000 event at Worlds. You get to another high level, an ACL jersey. One of the second to last levels is a VIP dinner with ACL pros. And then I believe our top level is a free set of ACL Pro boards if you get to the highest level. So this is something really excited about. The design is still being worked on. We've got less than a month to get it introduced, but really excited about the player points. We'll have more graphics and whatnot to be able to display and share with directors. But this is something that you can kind of start thinking about how you might be able to help your players earn these points. And then also directors, having a director engagement points. This is for all level of directors, and same thing, incentives for reaching different levels. We're still kind of working out the way for earning the director engagement points. Obviously, events completed and players participation is important, but also I'm hoping to be able to get in the memberships. So if a local director, a club director, is signing up a lot of club level members, player members, they also earn these engagement points as well, so that they can work their way up the incentive chain. So really excited about these. This is probably the biggest task we're trying to implement right now with all the different what ifs, but really excited to talk more about this, and we'll have a director session once it's ready to go, so that we can further explain it and further show all the different ways to earn points and what you can get when you get there. Yeah, and then Jamie said there's competition. We can have a competition amongst the directors. Okay, almost done here. A couple more minutes left. Another goal for this season is to offer more consistent director sessions on a variety of topics. And this again is to help our support all the directors, so that you can, if you feel like you maybe struggle in an area, or you just want more information in an area, you can attend one of these sessions. Michael, Athena, myself, the area managers will be presenting on a fairly regular basis, so that you can get as much information as possible and feel like you're continually improving as a director. Okay. All right. And some important dates. September 9th, everybody should have been notified already. September 9th is when director memberships are going to start. We did have to push that back a little bit. So you've got a week to sign up for your membership. On September 16th, player memberships will open up. September 30th is our first day of the official season, and then we go all the way until July 20th. Again, the European season will be announced later in the fall time. Okay. All right. And this is the new design. I'm going to make this full screen so you can see it a little bit. This is the director page design that we're looking to implement this year. Davis is working on the design. As you can see at the top here, you can have your club logo, your club name, location, your level of director, and then access to your email, your social media pages, score zone. And then down here are your club rankings, where you'll be able to display your club rankings. Initially, we've got some basic opportunities to filter. As the season goes on, we want to add more, like date range and and certain types of events and things like that. And then we also want to add in a section on tours. So if you want to offer tours, which is kind of like ACL's version of a season, you can offer that as well. Every director, again, who's a paid director will have this page. They'll have a unique URL that they'll be able to share with players so that players can bookmark it, add it to their phone, and then they can go. There's going to be an announcements page. So if you have announcements that you want to communicate to your club, you can post them in this announcement page. And then tournaments, the tournament tab here, being able to have players, they can go to your tournament page and see your upcoming events or look at past results. And then I know a lot of you have asked about being able to download statistics. We've got a button here for downloading your club results so that you can get that into a CSV file. Okay. Right. Let's Go Fishing. Will they be divided by divisions? Not initially, but that is certainly something that we can add to the filter list as we see how this progresses. Okay. All right. So we've got the main view, and then we've got the mobile view on the right-hand side here. Michael, in terms of a legitimate app, I'm assuming you mean a native app in the App Store. That is being evaluated right now, a cost analysis to make sure that it makes sense to do that. I think we're interested in developing that if it makes sense for for the growth of the sport. What the ACL is doing in the background with a lot of the data and whatnot is in the amount of changes that come and the frequency of the changes. Right now, a native app is a bit difficult to implement, just with the delay and how quickly things get into the App Store and whatnot. But certainly, we are evaluating that. I would not. I don't know like the definite answer if that's going to be something that is a year away, 2 years away, 5 years away, or whatnot. Kyle, CPI should help with sandbagging quite a bit. My vision for the CPI is that it replaces divisions, so that directors don't have to create divisions based on players who have subjectively selected their own division, but instead directors can say, okay, this event is for a CPI of 7 to 7.9 or something like that. That's what I envision. We've got 2 or 3 years of data already, but we need more data to make sure that it's giving us accurate results. So while I agree, I don't necessarily like divisions because sandbagging is so can be rampant in some areas. I'm hoping that CPI can be something that can be used to replace this if we find that it is a legitimately valid data point, which I've got no reason to believe it's not. It's just, where is that threshold of the amount of data that we have to make sure that it's valid and reliable. So, but yes, that's what I envision. Hopefully that will come. I'm hoping that sometime this season, directors can test those CPI ranges out at local level events, club level events. But in terms of full implementation, that won't be this year, but who knows? Depending on the amount of data we get, maybe it's next year. Yeah, Ken, it's just gold and above. My slide had was I merged too many cells, so it's just $10 for gold members at regionals. Can other states play in other state regionals? Yes, state regional events are open events. Mike, stamped on boards. I believe the 4 or 5 vendors that are already approved are selling those boards. So yeah, those are available now. Again, remember, the board stamps do not go into effect until 2026. So 2 more seasons. Regional directors moving players down. No, that is going to be something that the area managers will have to do. Athena, did we make a decision on? Well, we'll talk online. At least area managers, if not area managers and state directors. Okay, for U.S. points are those. Local events are open. If you play 24 events in October and don't play an event the rest of the season, all 24 of those events would count. Regionals are the same as they have been in the past, where if you play in 3 regionals in a month, just your best singles and your best doubles count. Okay. Brands of boards will open events be using opens, I believe. Athena, do you know the answer to this? I'm assuming pro boards, but
yes, it'll be the pro boards.
Yeah. Okay. 2024 accounts go until September 9th. So yes, yeah, that question was brought up earlier this week, and I checked with IT, and they said, yeah, they can extend the date. It'll extend until the end of September 8th, and then on September 9th, you can re-sign up. Okay. A lot of players in my area with memberships with directors that are no longer available. Yes, those DJ, those will all be cleared on September 15th, so that when players start signing up on September 16th, they'll be able to choose a new director. Marco will a country. Marco, yeah, there will be the ability for club directors to sign up underneath the a country director. That's something that once Tone and I are able to talk, and Tone's able to kind of disseminate that information to you. But yes, the country director kind of is equivalent to like our state directors in the US or the provincial directors in Canada, and then lower level directors can, for different groups, can sign up so that everything kind of feeds up into the country level. Women's, juniors, senior points at events, those will be those are going to fall under pro elite events this season. They will not. I think, yeah, at state events, they are not going to be required anymore. They're still encouraged, obviously, but women's, seniors, and juniors at state events and lower will be local events, local club events now instead of for national points. Those three divisions specifically are going to fall under Trey's presentation that he's going to be doing, to where it's more there's that whole pro women's, seniors, juniors is changing quite a bit for going into a pro elite division. Director's guide will hopefully be available within the next week or so, certainly before the directors, before you're able to sign up to be a director, so that you can make sure you review the director's guide so that you can, obviously make the decision. So. Regional directors and other directors, yes. Player memberships and director memberships are separate. Will Elite get their own stat metrics on the app? Not quite sure what that means. Matthew, maybe you want to articulate a little bit more. Or I'm sorry, not articulate. Maybe you want, could you expand on that a little bit more? Michelle, yes, players can be active in more than one club. No, at regional events, open division will be open to anyone. There just aren't enough pros to come up with a pro elite division at regional events. Nope, Tyler. They have to play within the state located in their player profile, but with the interstate events, they can travel to other state events and earn their state points that way. Just scrolling through to make sure I didn't miss anything. If I did miss you, repaste. You can copy and paste your question below. Let's see. Okay. Nope. Any paid director can also have their own club. Okay, it's not an additional membership. It's just it's included with either regional or state level directorship. Oh, thanks, Athena, for answering that. Yes, Suzanne, a good question. Yes, this is still in the progress. Time is always a factor, and some internal items going on have always been have caused this to slow down quite a bit. But I'm hoping that some loose ends get tied up in the next week or so. To where I've got access to more resources, i.e. Athena Delgado, to more of her time to help me with creating that certification program. Tyler, no, they'll be able to select somebody within the top, I think what it is this year is the 10 closest directors to you. Somebody would be able to select. Eric, this is a good question. We're making a clearer distinction between Canadian standings and U.S. standings this year. So the short answer is no. That if you're in New York and you go to Ontario to play an event, you would show up in the Ontario provincial standings. That event would not count towards your New York standings. So in theory, there is a pathway for U.S. players to be, to show up highly in different standings. So yeah, that's a good question. But there's just been we've noticed increasingly it's a bit more confusing to have them separate. So we're trying to create more clear boundaries, similar to how it is in Europe, and then something that can be scaled up more so in other countries as new countries come on board. Oops. Okay. Oh, okay. I see that you answer that. Oops. Brandon, good question. Yeah, high school, the high school and college director memberships are really just for to give high school and college groups free access to our software. If you are planning to run points events for players, or you want standings a director page with standings and stuff like that with stats and points, then yeah, the club level membership would be the most appropriate, and then you can still run high school and college and events and whatnot under that one. So yeah, the high school and college are just really to give access to high schools and colleges to free that aren't planning on using it for points events. So. All right. So, were there any changes to director per player fees or the director membership commission? No. Tentatively, no. I haven't looked closely enough at the numbers to see, but the only change I think that is going to come is the state events. They're the provincial events. Last year they were $3 per player for directors for the state and provincial level events. This year, where one of those dollars was then sent back to the director as a reimbursement for the top 100 jerseys, with those top 100 jerseys going away, we're going to eliminate that extra $1. So the state and provincial events will be $2 per player for those level of events. So that would be, at this point, the only change that comes. If there's any change to the commission, those would be minor changes. All right, so somebody from the U.S. plays the majority of their events in Canada, ends up at the end of the year. Yes, Aylin, that is kind of the idea of that. So Matt and I have not worked that out fully yet, because we're working through the 25-26 pro requirements or pro pathway for Canada still. But that would be, similar to other sports, how players in other countries can be pros and in different countries, depending on where they play or move to. Dan, yes, a player can play in more than 2 events. Their top singles and top doubles will count towards their standings. This is really a trial year. The state development committee, who put on quite a bit of work with me earlier this season, we kind of went back and forth on the number of events to count. I wanted to be a little bit more cautious with this and not require too much traveling for players. So I didn't want to have it be 2 events. But what we'll do is we'll see how it evolves this season and kind of get the average of how many of these state or interstate events players are going to, and then adjust next year if needed. Different parts of the country, even or different countries in itself, it's easier or harder to get around to. So on the East Coast, very easy to go to 2 or 3 different states, relatively easy, whereas on the on the western part of the U.S., it's the states are bigger and more spread out, so a bit more challenging. So want to kind of see where that goes, and then Canada, where the provinces are massive, even more of a challenge. So, but we'll evaluate. We'll see. This is kind of our trial year of it, and we'll adjust as we see fit. Dana, do you want to answer this one?
Yes. Oh, yeah. For the stamped boards, yes. So stamp boards will be required for all divisions in 26. However, there's 3 different levels. You have your comp, elite, and your pro levels. We're actually working on resources along with the director certification program. We're going to have a lot of good resources on just kind of some ideas on how to obtain sponsorships for those. We'll get some preset items for all of you, including different event types, how to seek sponsors, some email forms that you can kind of use for that, and then different ways and levels of sponsorships that you can offer. Again, they're all going to be guides that you can make copies of and edit them based off of what your area needs.
Yeah, one of the director sessions we have on there is securing board sponsors. So we'll be able to give you information on that. Okay. Let's see. Yes, Michael had to jump off, but the plan is to continue the officials program, so that we can have more trained officials. Made good progress this first year as the initial year for the program, and then I see plans for expanding it for next year. Oh, you keep beating me to it, Athena. Thank you. If you have boards from an approved manufacturer, do they need to buy new ones? Joe, if they have stamps on them, no. Yes, Pro Elite are going to have their standings as well. So. How many vendors? This is a hot question as well. Right now, I believe there are 4 or 5 approved vendors. I'm assuming there are going to be more approved vendors. I know Canada having approved vendors is an important one as well. So what that looks like when we're ready to go, roll it out fully in 2026. I'm not entirely sure. I think that's still being developed by our licensing team. So hopefully we have some, a good amount of options that are still high quality for so that when players go to your events, they know they're going to be playing on top level boards. This is a good question, and one I'll get added to our director session list. This is something Trey's team is overseeing a lot of the high school and college development. So this will be one that will get added to the presentation list. Oh, okay. Thank you for this. At this point, DJ, we do not have a expiration date on board stamps. Again, with it being such a new policy, I think it's evaluation right now and to see how long boards actually stay good for, whereas they're within a certain threshold of when they were approved as boards. I think a lot of directors these days are rotating their boards out every couple 3 years or so, 2 or 3 years as it is. But at this point, we're nothing that I've seen has indicated that we're going to have a life on boards. But the game is always changing. Oh, Athena beat me to it again. Yes, there will be a pro qualifier at next year's Worlds. Yep. And Trey will have the pathway for the 25-26 pros coming out here when he starts to release that information. Yeah, Academy sells boards. Yep. Nope, the state event, state championships and the interstate are weighted equally. In my opinion, state directors have a great opportunity here to hype up their state events and make it an amazing experience for players. Regardless of the points that are assigned to it. Make it a really nice way to cap the season, to end the season on a good note. Players are going to, just like they do with opens, they can choose to go to multiple opens. And knowing that they only get to take a certain amount of them. So, again, Joe, we want to evaluate the state process this year and see how it works out with offering the best of singles and best doubles. But but the state event for state directors should really is really that great opportunity to end the season on a high note and offer the players a first class experience as a way to end the season. So, A whole session on board stamp requirements. Yeah, I think we could probably get a session so that questions can be answered. Let me just make a couple notes here. Okay, I'll add that to the list. Athena, did Josh share anything on the board stamps, like a document yet, or has that not been shared yet?
Yes, yeah, we do have one that I think was sent to some of the manufacturers, but also Josh did a presentation all about the board stamps at Worlds. So I'm sure maybe that presentation could possibly be something that can be used for that.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I added it to the list so that maybe I didn't. So that we can make sure that we get that into the rotation so that we can drown out the rumors. No. Because I'm sure there's some good rumors out there. Okay. All right. Well, I've kept you 30 minutes longer than I was hoping to, but had a lot of good questions come in. Hopefully a lot of the questions that you had going into the new season were answered. We've got obviously our director group that you can post additional questions in if you join this session late or you think of something later on, and we can try to get those answered for you. I will be working on putting the kind of the final details on the director's guide over the next few days, and then trying to get that uploaded into our admin portal, and then potentially some hard copy version of the document for those who might not be in the admin portal, so that you can review that. Okay. All right. Yep. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I think this was probably one of our larger sessions that we've had. So I hope you found this informative. Let me get us back on there so that we're still awake. I forgot that we were off screen for a little while. So, but yeah, thank you again for joining us. I know this was a long session, but I know a lot of you were eager to learn about the new season. The changes that we've got coming this season, I'm really excited about. We've been spending a good part of the season brainstorming and developing ways to make this an engaging season coming up, really focusing on those the players who are responsible for the growth of the sport. Okay, you can't have advanced elite pro level players until you have those recreational players who are coming in and starting to learn the sport, so that they can then develop themselves, if they want to develop themselves all the way up and shoot for the top, or if they just like coming out on a Wednesday and playing and it's their night out. This model, I hope, is really an opportunity for you to offer inclusive events for all types of players and encourage them and engage them to continue to come back. So. All right. With that said, thank you all for joining us. The pot of coffee that I drank before this seems like it did the trick and got me through the entire session. So again, any questions, post them online. Thanks to Michael for joining as well. I know he had to drop off early. Athena, thanks as always for answering all those questions and for filling us in on minor league teams this year.
Oh yeah, definitely. And also thank you all for jumping on. Lots of information. So hopefully that covered most of it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone.